6:30 on Thursday, July 15th, 2021. This is a meeting of the advisory committee. This is actually our last official meeting of the last fiscal year. And basically, we have a few things on the agenda. Let's just dive right into the transfer requests and the end of year transfer. I will share my screen so that everybody is on the same page. Okay, so I know Jenny sent this out in advance. Hopefully you've all had a chance to look at everything. I would like to kind of move through these quickly unless anybody has questions. I think they're all pretty straightforward. So did anybody want to make a motion to approve the transfer for $100 to the legal department?
So moved.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor? Anne,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Yes.
Omid, and
Yes.
Bob.
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. Okay. Next transfer request is for $6,820.77. And as you can see, our DPW director explained the need for this amount to cover some staffing, salaries and overtime for the fiscal year. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay. Bob,
Yes.
Omid,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
and Bill.
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. All right, this is also from our DPW director, $1,123.70 transferred to cover the costs of electric bills and repairs. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, Bob,
Yes.
Omid,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. All right, this was the veterans transfer that we weren't able to take up last time, but we do have the correct amount now. So it's a transfer request for $3,301.70 to pay veterans benefits.
Motion that.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll
I
second it.
Okay, Bob,
Yes.
Omid,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. All right, a transfer request for $1,818.74. So this one's actually mechanically, it's a little bit funny. So because the Board of Selectmen approved a bunch of the year-end transfers last week, which essentially depleted our healthcare balance because we thought we had extras left over. Turns out we actually do have an $1,800 worth of Medicare Part B reimbursements that need to be paid out. So anyway, that's why we need to do this. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve it.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all right. Bob,
Yes.
Omid,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay, and then there's a transfer request for $64.04 because of basically the amount that it costs to bond the tax collector increased. So is there a motion to approve?
Yes.
Motion to
Oh, I'll
approve.
make the motion.
Okay,
Second.
Need a second? Okay.
okay, that was Bill. All right, so Bob,
Yes.
Omid,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay, so that concludes our advisory reserve fund transfer requests. And now what we're looking at here are FY21 end of year transfers. And basically it's, you know, to the extent the accounts on the left-hand side of the page had some money left over in them, we're transferring those to cover our snow and ice outstanding budget and the fire EMS wages. And you'll see actually that when it comes to fire and EMS wages, the amounts, that's sort of almost an interdepartmental transfer because it's all coming from within the fire budget. But the amounts are listed here on the right-hand side, and we can actually approve all these as a slate. Does anyone have questions about the mechanics here? Because I know that this is a first time for some folks.
So Brian, does it always go into those two categories, transfers?
Into snow and ice or fire?
Yes.
Not always those two. Pretty much always snow and ice ends up getting a bunch. If like, you know, because we basically only budget $180,000. Right. So always snow and ice get some, but then the other, it just kind of depends on in a given year. Like, I think there may have been a time when the police department wages, we had to transfer stuff to cover at the end. So.
Okay.
And Brian, is this paying for last year's snow and ice costs, or are we forward funding for next year?
This is paying for the costs that were incurred before June 30th of 2021. So last year.
And does it always have to be the exact amount to cover what we spent, or can it be a little more or a little less?
So I think basically what we're doing is we're trying to transfer exactly what we need to cover what was spent. And then any money that we don't put toward the snow and ice budget will go into free cash. It'll be certified as free cash for FY22.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay,
Second that.
all right. Bob,
Yes.
Omid,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay, so I will stop. Thank you very much. I'll stop sharing now. So we also should choose and vote on our officers for this upcoming budget cycle. So the positions that we need are chair, vice chair. I personally thought that last year having co-secretaries worked out really well, so I would like to keep that. I have not heard from anybody wishing to either change their position or anything, but do people have anyone that they want to nominate or any thoughts they want to share?
I would be happy to be co-secretary again.
Thank you.
I know everybody's dying for that position, but
It's been great. You guys have been
You guys have been fantastic.
Well, it is a great opportunity, and I don't want to deprive anyone else of the opportunity if they're interested in.
I would more than delighted to see you re-up.
So what we could do is we could basically just approve the same set of officers that we had last year, where I would continue serving as chair, Craig would continue as vice chair, and Bill and Bob would continue as co-secretaries. And we could probably do that as all like one motion. But if anyone wants to change that, we could also change it and do that as a single motion too. It is what it is. So.
Sounds like a fine idea to me.
Okay, so does somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make, oh, go ahead, Craig.
I'll make that motion for,
And I'll second it.
Okay, so the motion is to have Brian continue serving as chair, Craig continue serving as vice chair, and Bill and Bob continue serving as co-secretaries. I will do roll call. Omid,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Ann,
Yes,
Bill,
Yes.
Craig,
yes,
and I am a yes as well. All right, great. And then when it comes to the liaison thing, we don't have to like finalize that tonight at all. I just wanted to send the document out and maybe get an initial discussion started. So let me, sorry, let me pull open the document.
and I think given some previous conversations, we should probably set the parameters for that liaison.
Yeah, so maybe what we could do is spend a few minutes just talking about whether we would want to change anything in the description that we have here or clarify things. And maybe we can like make some revisions now and then finalize everything at a future meeting. Would that work? We can also finalize it tonight. I don't want to have people feel rushed. I mean, so just to give everyone a little bit of background, what I did was I took a prior document that kind of set forth liaison functions and assignments, and I just tried to put a little meat on the bone about what the role is. One thing that I added is that, so I'll just highlight it. I do think that it's really important to make sure that if like liaisons are having pretty substantive interactions with the department head about something, that you're generally keeping Don Lowe, our town administrator, in the loop about just like even the existence of the conversation. I don't mean like you have to report every single last thing, but like if there's an issue, just hypothetically, if there's an issue and you're like, oh, we need to dig into this, I would want you to let Dawn know and certainly let me know, just because it is really important that we function as a full committee, and that although the liaisons are about like getting good information and better understanding, it can quickly and accidentally feel like the liaisons are like essentially creating a project for department head, and that's something we really want to avoid. So that's kind of why I added that. Do people understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I certainly do. And we don't want to, bumble into something that we are creating problems.
So it's like we see what they're doing, we answer questions, they ask us in regard to budgeting. We did not make any calls or anything else. If the question's out of our area, we bring it up here if we don't know it or requires higher attention. And then, is that it?
Yeah, and I think like if I were to come up with just sort of like an imaginary, what would it look like over the course of the year, I feel like maybe one outreach per quarter is probably sufficient, if that. And especially like, I think making some sort of contact in the months in the fall before they submit their budgetary requests to the town administrator, which typically happens in November. I think it's good to have it like at least a conversation or two before that happens, so that we know like if there's anything sort of surprising or like something new that's happening that we should be aware of going into the beginning of the budget cycle. But I think apart from that, it's not like there's certainly no expectation that like every month you're having a meeting or something. I will say, just scrolling down to look at some of the bigger departments, like for education, like if I end up being one of the liaisons for that, I do think it's good to try to like watch or listen to the school committee meetings when you have time, just to stay up to date. So that's something I think folks should do, but otherwise it shouldn't be like an overwhelming additional responsibility. I can say a little bit about my rationale for these suggested arrangements, but we can change it totally. So I thought it may actually be good to have all the public safety handled by the same liaisons. So I thought, given Anne's history, you were a liaison, I know, for police before. I can't remember whether you were for fire, but definitely for police. So I thought it would be good to keep you on in that.
That's
regard.
fine. That's fine.
And then, Bob, I don't know if you'd be interested in that. My thinking too, again, with Anne at the library, like I know you've got a lot of experience with the library. And then for Omid and Bill, I thought that given Omid's expressed interest in some like fleet life cycle management stuff, it might be a good fit. But anyway, why don't we, I mean, we can give this some thought and we can finalize it at another meeting. if
Okay,
you-
no, I think it looks like a nice division of labor.
Hey, Brian, how has this outreach historically been done? A phone call or a meeting?
Yeah, so usually I think it's like an email to set up a call or a meeting, right? So I remember when I was a liaison with the police department, we went in and sat down with the chief in the conference room to go over a couple things one day. We might have done it twice before the budget session, but so yeah, like a phone call, meeting, whatever. I would say whatever is easiest for the department head. Like we want to try to make this convenient for them.
Okay.
Okay. So do people want time to think about this? Do we want to say this looks good for now and we can we could say these are what the assignments will be for now, and then if we want to change them, we can, or do you want to wait and just approve it at another meeting?
I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it?
I'm fine with it too.
Yeah.
I'm all right with it.
Fine.
Craig,
I
are you
motion
okay?
to approve it as is.
Okay, great. So does somebody want to second that?
I
I'll
second.
second it. Okay,
Okay, all right.
cluster of seconds.
I'll do the roll. Bob,
Yes,
Craig?
Yep.
Anne,
Yes,
Bill,
Yes.
Omid,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay, great. Thank you, guys. I think that
thanks for putting this together. This will
Oh,
be
sure.
great.
All right, well, I think that concludes all of our business for the evening. Does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second that.
All right, I'm just gonna say all in favor.
Aye.
I,
Any
I
opposed? No. Okay, thank you all for your time.
all right.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.